I really believe it's worth it, and thank you, Tova. I want to thank Rabbis Porter and Goldberger for driving all the way from Baltimore this morning to be here beside me. I want to thank all of Tova and my parents for all of the help and love and support they've been giving us. And I want to thank everyone in the Passaic community for all the help we've been getting. The food, the rides, the play dates. It's been really, the play dates, it's been really such a big help. So much kindness, and thank you. So, you know, 2 babies we just saw enter the covenant of the Jewish people, but I'm going to speak about 3 because I really can't come here and leave my daughter out of it and just speak about my sons. You know, somewhere someone's going to record this thing and it's going to be payback time. So I'm going to speak in reverse order of how they were born, last to first. So the last one born and the smallest is Miriam Hasida, our daughter, who I named the Monday after the birth. They were born 3 weeks ago, Shabbos, and I said to Tova, I'm not waiting till next Shabbos for a naming. I'm making it Monday morning, 6:15. This baby's getting a name. And so she's named, the first name for my mother, the second for Tova's maternal grandmother. Now, my mother unfortunately left the world. It's so more than 3 years now. She never got to see all these wonderful grandchildren. It's very sad, but you know, I think of her every day and how when I was growing up she provided such a loving home, how authentic she was, what a truth teller she was, what an incredibly intelligent woman she was. I don't think anyone really appreciated her the way my dad does and does. And my dad, if he came up here, he could talk for maybe 15 minutes about the artwork kids would do in her class in school years ago. And it was really an honor to be able to name my daughter for my mother, and you know, the way my parents just loved each other was always such an inspiration. And you know, for more than 40 years of marriage, and you know, in her last year she really wanted to know someone was going to be named for her, and we were so excited to find out we were having a girl and we could have her Hebrew name Miriam. Now, we also named her Miriam for Moshe Rabbeinu's sister Miriam in the Torah. When Moshe was sent floating down the Nile when he was a baby, Miriam was the one who followed him. She made sure he was all right. I like the thought of our little baby Miriam, even though she's the smallest, looking out for her bigger brothers. I think she'll be doing that. And you know, Tova and I talked about how at the splitting of the sea, Miriam was the one who got out a drum and she gathered the women and she instructed them, Shir Allah Hashem, sing to Hashem. She knew how to properly thank Hashem for all the kindness He's done for us, and we really hope that our daughter will be able to emulate her biblical namesake and intuitively know how to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, this interesting name, Hasida, the second name, Tova's grandmother was named Fruma, and we wanted a name that was basically the Hebrew equivalent. It means pious. Something we feel Tova's grandmother was. She was very loving. She always worked so hard to be involved in Tova's life. Made it a point to spend lots of time with Tova, even though she was living very far away. And we hope this name Hasida helps shape our daughter's neshama so she can grow into a pious, caring, and loving person. Now, on to the boys. Baruch Hillel. He was born the biggest of the bunch, still is, but not by as much. And he gets his first name from Tova's paternal grandmother, Billy Rosen, who I was lucky enough to know. Billy, Grandma Rosen as I called her, was a spunky, straightforward, direct woman. She lived a very long life, well into her 90s. We wish this kind of thing for all of our children. Now, so we took this first name from Billy, the base, but also Baruch means blessed. And I think Tova's grandmother would have liked that. She understood what blessing children were. And whenever we visited her, she'd see Moshe Meir. He was about 1 at the time, and she'd just keep saying, Kanai Nahara, say Kanai Nahara. Did you say Kanai Nahara? Say it again, say Kanai Nahara. And you know, we did, and we were with her on that. We feel so blessed to have such a beautiful family now. Now, the second name comes from my step-grandmother, whose name was Hilda. I knew her as Grand Hilda. And when I never knew my actual biological maternal grandmother, but I always knew Grandhilda to be my grandmother instead, and she was always such a presence growing up, always in my brother's life and my life. She was a tough cookie, I could say, but she was very loving, and like Tova's grandparents, she lived into well into her 90s. She was around till very recently. If she was with us today, it would have been, I believe, her 93rd birthday. And we miss her, and we're really glad to have the chance to pass a name in her honor as well. Now, also something else with the name Hillel. Tova and I have a great deal of admiration for Rabbi Hillel. We love the Gemara about Rabbi Hillel. We really find it inspiring when he says, "What is hateful to you, do not do unto your neighbor." That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn it. The context of when Rabbi Hillel said this, someone came to him and just joking around, trying to make fun of him, said, "Okay, teach me the Torah while I'm standing on one foot." Rabbi Hillel actually had an answer for him. This is such an incredible thing that, the whole Torah on one foot, good luck, but here Rabbi Hillel was able to sum it up and give him some good solid advice. And it really helps us to remember this particular answer he had, what's so fundamental about our Torah observance, what is hateful to you, do not do unto your neighbor. And Tova and I believe that, if we want our son Baruch Hillel to learn this and have this quality in his life, a wonderful life, that would help make it. Now, our other son, who was born first of the bunch, Katriel Simcha. And in case anyone was confused, that's Katriel with a kaf, not Gavriel, Katriel. It's a little bit of an unusual name. And he gets his name from my father's mother, my paternal grandmother, who was Kate Jussum. Her Yiddish name was Krenya, which is Yiddish for crown. So Katriel is literally crown of God. Now, I knew Kate Jussum as Bubby. Called my dad up and said, "We're naming baby Aleph for Bubby." And he's like, "Bubby who?" And I'm like, "Well, how many people do I call Bubby?" So there you have it. And I have such memories of her as just a warm and loving grandparent. I remember I was a little boy, and I think every Sunday, maybe every Saturday, I don't remember, but we'd go to visit her and my grandfather in their apartment in Riverdale. My brother and I, we'd go running down the hall, and you know what? When we got around this bend to the hallway there where they lived, their door was just a little open, and they would both be peeking out the door, waiting to see their grandparents come running down. It's just such a beautiful thing to see. Just really made me feel loved and appreciated. And I also just really admire the way she raised her own children. She had 4, and she made sure they all got excellent education. They all had good midos. They all really did have a connection, or do have a connection to Hashem and Judaism. And Tova and I talk about our children's chinuch all the time. And we think she was a great role model, and we really hope we'll be nearly as successful as raising our children as my Bubby was with hers. Now, more about the name Krenya, had being crowned, Katriel, crown of God. Tova and I thought this was appropriate, especially coming after the Yom Tovim, where we really focus on Hashem's kingship, because we've got 3 new beautiful children, one somewhat older beautiful child, and we should remember that these children, really for us are the crown of Hashem. They really let us know that Hashem really does give good, beautiful things, and here they are. And now something else: the children were born during the month of Elul. It was actually the 18th of Elul, and during Elul, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in the field, ready for his coronation as king, and these precious gifts Hashem gave us. They're a small inkling of Hashem's crown of glory. Now, the second name, Simcha, does not come from any individual person at all. It's just a reflection of how Tova and I feel. There were times when Tova and I didn't tell people we were having triplets. We just wouldn't say. You know why? Because people would start stressing out, and we just didn't want to deal with their stress. We had to come up with good answers. Like, it's okay, you don't have to raise them. And if you Google the word triplets, I'm telling you, you'll feel all these see all these stories of people saying, "I'm so sorry, you must be overwhelmed," or, you know, like I said, I'm glad I don't have to raise them, and I want to say thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, okay, just a minute, Moshe Mayor. Hang on, let Abba finish speaking. Thank you. You know, Tov and I are really glad we get to raise these children. We really feel it's a privilege. And we wanted a name to make a very public statement. This is how happy we are. Let the word Simcha make sure there's no doubt about how happy we are, and as my son is emphasizing right now. Now, there's another reason for the second name Simcha. The first line of Kol Nidre, Or Zarua Lat Tzadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Light is planted for the righteous, and for the upright of heart, gladness. Now, where's your yarmulke? You just had it right over there, Moshe Mayor. It's underneath. So the Sfas Emes explains this pasuk. Upright people keep their faith in God no matter what life gives them. And no, life isn't always easy. That's not news to anyone. So, but this is the true meaning of the word Simcha. That if you really have Simcha, if you have that faith in God, you know God's running the world, and you know by pursuing the Torah, you're pursuing His will. And I really thought that this was an important quality to teach to all of our children, and we can only wish that Katriel Simcha, his brother Baruch Hillel, and their little sister Miriam Chasida really manage one day to approach this level of faith. Thank you.